With many of the things that you can install along the top here, there are 10 openings. So you have many options as far as where you want to install everything. First thing I'll talk about is the soap dispenser, because there's two options with the soap dispenser. And so that being the soap dispenser. Something that you do want to take into account is whether you're left or right-handed, whether you have a wall to the left, a wall to the right, a wall to the rear. So in our case, we are both right-handed, and this will be for multiple reasons, but we're going to put the soap dispenser on this end because you can pump the dispenser with your left hand while putting it in your right hand. So that's one reason we're going to put this over this way, but we could put it anywhere along here, and we're probably going to put everything in close proximity to the other things like the shower head and the faucet. But another reason for, and that's why I mentioned the walls, is depending on which of the options you use for dispensing soap. So you could hook up this bottle, but the issue is going to be that every time it needs to be filled, you will have to reach up underneath, undo the bottle, and then refill the bottle. Of course, if you put it down on the end, for example, here, it wouldn't be, well, here, it wouldn't be too bad if there's no wall here. But if you had no wall on the other side, you can put it over there. If you don't have a wall to the rear of it, then you can put it pretty much anywhere. But if you decide to use this bottle, just take into account where your walls are and how easily you can access it. Because if you put this into a corner and you're using this method, you would have to crawl up under there and then reach up behind it to take the bottle out. The other option is there is this long tube that you can use, and this end right here has got a heavy metal piece, and what you can do is install your pump. But then again, what you would want to have is the ability to reach up underneath. And in this case, you could buy like a gallon bottle of soap, put it up underneath, drop this end of the hose into the bottle that's underneath, and dispense the soap from down there. And then it wouldn't be so bad just having to reach up under there and grab the larger bottle from underneath to replace it. But that's what this hose would be for. So on the soap dispenser, there is a gasket right here already. Then you got the plastic nut and another gasket, and this is here. Gasket's going to go on next from underneath. The upper portion of the soap dispenser is in place. This is going to go on here. Feed the hose up through. The picture, like I mentioned earlier, isn't very clear, but this, notice I just put this on here because it's easy to get on here, and that may be the way that it does go on, but the picture is very difficult to see. This may go on here. I mean, it was close, but it's so flexible that it doesn't want to stay on. So put this shorter tube on here because that went right in. But only time will tell whether it actually works. So that is on there. And then this piece right here, you'll slide up underneath. just keep this here, and then what you would do, I don't know if I have anything I can use for an example. So let's just say that this is a 1 gallon bottle of soap. The way that this would work is you drop this into the bottle, and then you take this black piece, so you'll take the black piece, and what you're going to do is push it into the bottle, and it acts as basically a cork and allows the tube to pull the soap up. You can see it stays in there pretty good. That's how that would work if that's the process you want to use. Now, if you don't want to use the long tube, then you would just use this short tube. Just take this off, put this on, put it back on here, and then just screw the bottle on underneath with your soap in it. There you go. There are the 2 different options for your soap dispenser. Here's something that might be missed in the instructions. So when you look at the majority of the pictures, they show these 3 hoses right here disconnected, but when you get it, they are all already attached to your lever for adjusting your water temperature. The issue is this piece needs to come off, but will not come off because of these connectors. There's no way possible to get them off by sliding that over those. And at first look, right here, they all look like they're smooth, and they look like they're pressure clamped on, and there's nothing in the instructions at all that show this one right here actually has notches for a wrench. Unfortunately, it's not a common size because I've tried all these wrenches and not one of them works. Can't put a crescent wrench on there, so now I need to go find another. But that is how you're going to get that piece off, is by taking this hose off, sliding it through, putting it on here, and then putting it back on. So there you go, there's the piece that comes off. It's got a double O-ring on it, and this is actually a 11 millimeter. I tried everything, and even 10 millimeters too small, 11 millimeters too big. I tried 7/16, doesn't work. So I was able to get it off 11 millimeter, but not a good wrench to use. And then the biggest issue is if your wrench is too wide, you may not be able to get it on there. So you gotta make sure you use a thin wrench. These little plugs that go on the top have this blue tape on it. You may think that that's just the way it is. Well, you may not know that it's tape, but I mean, you could leave it in place if you wanted to, but it does come off. And unfortunately, it does leave, not on all of them, but it does leave some sticky residue on them, so you'll have to clean those if you decide to take the that protective tape off. Got the soap dispenser, the faucet, the hot cold nozzle, and then the shower head right here. Then you got your 3 lines. You got your cold and your hot, and then this hose here will go to your faucet. If you're doing the installation of all these, your soap dispenser, faucet, hot cold knob, and your shower knob, it's best not to put the side walls or the back wall on, especially if you're doing this by yourself, because if you put up the back wall and side walls, you're gonna have difficulty holding these in place with the walls sitting here. It just makes it easier to get it all done and then put the walls on. Make sure you check your O-rings, because this one is split, and that is the one that goes on the shower head. So Yeah, that was busted. I just happen to have some others, so good to go. So here is the best way to get your faucet hose. As you can see here, you got the cold and the hot hoses here, and you need to get the actual faucet hose up underneath there and connected. So the way you have to do this is take your faucet hose, which connects right here on the faucet with that connector right there, and all you're going to do is slide it in through here. Before you hook up your hot cold handle, which is right here, and comes across over here, and then this part right here connects to here on the faucet. So not only do you want to put thread tape on, but you do want to lubricate this O-ring in here, because if you start twisting this and when it gets tight, what it's going to do is turn the opposite end. So by lubricating it, you'll prevent it from seizing up and causing this end from turning. When you go to put your back and sidewalls on, be aware that these hex bolts are just barely wider than the hole. So what you may want to do, because they don't include them, is get some washers that'll make it more secure, because this could potentially come off very easily. These blue pieces, the two of them on each of the floor plates, these do come off, but you have to be careful. They're basically clamped in place with this piece of metal on this side and this piece. And then when you look at the back side, and the reason why I say be careful is because when you take it out, you got to take it out as one, because it's got these little locking pins, and those locking pins will break off. So you need to attempt to lift it out as a one. And you can see all this hair. The reason why you would want to take these blue pieces off on occasion is because the hair gets caught up right there on the handles, and also gets caught up back inside, back in there. So you can see a bunch there that